up, guys? It's Saltine Dutch Batty Cracker thing. Whatever. Whatever. It's an intro. I wanted to talk about how you can become academically inclined. I was thinking a little bit about making this video while I was at the gym, and then a little bit before that because I'm gonna be starting college soon. And it brought me back to the time that this year I graduated health school for the certain career that I'm at now. And the interesting thing about that is that I did way better than I expected. I remember even back when I was in high school, I was not as good at school at all. I passed high school, okay? Ended up getting to this one school and ended up finishing fourth top in the class over 70 people. People were coming up to me, asking me for help, asking me hey, Sunday, how do you do this, this, and this? And then I would be able to teach them that. I would literally draw out graphs and show people of what we were being taught and how to pass these tests. And then they were you must have been a nerd before that. No. But because I had to pass that school, I had to have this certain mindset of, okay, I'm going to be doing this, this, and this. And because, I passed that, but also having a straight A, never failing any tests, only having 80s and above on tests, I ended up getting a promotion for that. I'm going to make $200 more. There's a package for that because I started to do that stuff. And the only reason was because if I failed anything, you have to get rolled back and rolled back and rolled back, and then eventually get kicked out of the school. And I obviously didn't want that because this career is going to help me out so much. But I had to change the way that I thought about being academically inclined, which is what I'm going to teach you in this video. So here they are right now. I'm going to give them to you. First off, you need to identify the reason why you want to be academically inclined. Why do you want those straight A's? Why do you want the hundreds on tests or the and then understand the subject matter being the best there is, having people come to you for help, right? Why do you want that? And it's not oh my God, opportunities, or my parents make me do it, or, it's just always what I've been taught is that you need good grades to be successful in life. You don't need good grades or college to be successful in life. You can literally Google, everybody who did not, go to college and became successful, and you'll just get, a plethora of celebrities, people who make more than people with, PhDs and master's degrees and whatever else, right? Opportunities for what? Opportunities for what? If you want a business degree, then go get a business degree if there's a job that wants you to do that. You don't need to be college to be successful, but if you want to be a doctor in something, you want to be a brain surgeon, or, you want to be a certain type of accountant that, handles people's money in a certain way, you need college. You need to have a certain degree that is more catered to that. Or if you want to be an EMT, or, you're trying to do something in healthcare like I did, I had to go through certain schooling as well in order to become that specific part. You know how many people with college degrees are working at Starbucks making what? I don't even know what they make at Starbucks, probably 15 an hour. You know how many people are doing those jobs, and they have the master's degree, they have the bachelor's degree, they have the this, and that degree, and whatever stuff, but it's and then there's also the people with academic burnout, those college kids who just went to college to go to college, and then they're burnt out, and they're I don't know what I want to do with my life, and then they spent all this money on a degree that they realize that they don't want, or that they just chose because you need to go to college or whatever. You don't need to go to college is useless. College is useless if you make it useless. If there is something you need college for, then yes, go to college. If it's not, and you need some sort of tech school or whatever, don't be ashamed that you didn't go to college or go to school. Just do something that leads you towards the end goal. There needs to be a destination. What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? So now that you have determined why you want to be academically inclined, whether that's in the actual high school for college or tech school, or, whatever schooling that you need to go to. Either one, be smart, or two, know how your brain works. Being smart is obviously self-explanatory, but knowing how your brain works means that you are unique and you have a specific neuro pathway that you can use to build off memory, okay? Even if you're slow, kind of like I am, especially when it comes to academics or, learning things fast. Some people can't learn things fast. Some people it takes your brain has to work twice as hard to be able to understand something that is mostly common sense to other people, it seems like. And while it seems appealing to just be like smart and lazy, or, be someone who can learn things fast, regurgitate it, and then forget about it afterward, even though it does sound appealing, because obviously, if you gotta like cram for a test or you gotta do whatever, being slow has its advantage. Being slow means that you can learn things, right? Like you have to like repeat it, or like find some way to memorize it, right? But then you become a subject matter expert on it, especially if you like do extra work outside of the class, which we'll get into. You can become a subject matter expert, and then when you're doing those tests, you're doing those quizzes, you can go on there, and because you know the subject matter, even if there's a question you're like semi-unsure about, you can pull from other sources of information that you have based off of your study habits to be able to answer that. Being smart or learning things fast is like just talent wasted. Like, they learn it and they forget it, and it doesn't benefit them in the end. It's just, credits in, credits out. But you can become like a lifelong learner based off of, being slower and becoming, the person that people come to. And that's a huge thing of being academically inclined, is knowing like a general awareness of what you're doing. So for example, when I was in, the health school, it was like an EMT school almost. When we were doing like the cardio unit, like we were learning about the heart and stuff, I literally became not like the subject matter expert, because obviously I'm not a doctor, but like when I would go into textbooks, right, there would be like little graphs and things like that you'd have to like fill in. Most people didn't do them, like the professors or instructors like never went through them with us. But what I would do is I would like pull from the book, and I would like underline things and like explain them in my own words, and then I'd actually put it on that graph. So there's like the graph of the heart right here, and then I would put like, this is the pulmonary artery goes into the lungs, and then it goes back into the heart through the aortic valve, right? I think I got that wrong, but this was a while ago. And like I would explain that, and then I would explain like how the heart contracts like on the sides of the paper. And anytime somebody would ask me a question about it, I'd just whip it out. And I'd be like, okay, so this goes like through here, then like, and then there's some additional information right there, like with page references. And like, that was how I would explain it to myself. I became my own professor. And another thing about, your professors and instructors is that they're basically going off a very generic form of learning, which gets into my next point, is branch outside of what your professor tells you. Your professor is not catered towards you or your learning style. You have to cater to yourself, okay? You have to branch out. You have to like go on YouTube, because often like they explain things that like get very confusing, like you don't really understand, which is something that happened while I was in school. And so I would have to go on like these YouTube videos or TikTok videos. Also ChatGPT, and I know people are going to be like, oh my god, ChatGPT is the devil, whatever. Like, the thing is, ChatGPT, if you like plug in like cardio, like how the heart works, for dummies, like, or in very simple terms, like how would you explain it to a child? If you plug that into like ChatGPT or like TikTok's a really good one, because they explain things like really short. Also, there's an airplane. Are you getting done, or what are you? They can explain things for you. And then they'll like plug it out, and then you'll be able to understand it, and you can constantly keep asking it like, I don't understand, but like, what about this part, or like, does this part work in correlation of this part, so that you can have like the general awareness of understanding. And another thing is that you need to have it pretty broad, especially if you have big books, which gets into my next point. If you have like a bigger book, or it's like a bigger unit, try not to just focus on one thing, okay? Don't try to focus on like how the heart works if you also have to figure out like the heart's conditions, or like what someone does if they lose a lot of blood, like how to get the blood back and things like that. Like, you have to be able to span through all of that. So just create some flashcards that make it in general. And especially if the professor or something like that is really emphasizing a point, don't just highlight it, just like underline it. Put it in the words that the professor explained it if you were to explain it as well. Or, go on the internet and, be able to research that and just have it in the back of your mind. And I know that seems, oh wow, it just got dark. But I know that seems kind of contradictory to what I just said of be a subject matter expert, but also be broad. There's just a balance in between it. And you're eventually going to find that balance over time. And just, make it a fun journey. Romanticize studying. Go on Pinterest or something like that. Do whatever it takes to be able to get to your goal. Because the only person that's ever going to care about your goal or your dreams, or when you're struggling and you feel like it's so all overwhelming, kind of like I did, you just have to look at like the destination and be like, you know what, this is where I'm gonna go, this is where I'm actually gonna go. And yeah, that's it. I know that this was kind of a short video, but thank you so much for watching. Kind of pulled this together because I want to get more consistent with YouTube, especially for the people that this really helps. So yeah, thank you so much for letting me take up your time on this weekday. And yeah, just have a great morning, day, or night, and I'll see you in the next video, and peace out. Okay, whatever.